Hello adventurers, welcome. This is the Fighting Fantasy playlist. My name is Adam and this is the top 10 video. So, over the past few weeks, everyone's been sending in their top 10 favourite Fighting Fantasy books, and I've compiled it here into this list now, and we're going to go through it, and then at the end, I'm going to do a few honourable mentions. But for now, here's the top 10. So at number 10, we have Crypt the Sorcerer. Last time I read this was about 14 years old, so I don't actually remember what happens in this, but I know it was a good book, but I just don't remember the details of it. But it will come up in a future video, so you can check out that video to see more details on it. But that was the number 10 fan favourite. Number 9 on the list, which is a book I did read frequently as a teenager and in my 20s, was Midnight Rogue, where you play a member trying to get into the Thieves Guild in Port Blacksand, and you have to use like lock-picking skills or sneak skills to get about, and it's a really good read, and of course it's set in Port Blacksand. So that was at number 9. Number 8, a Ian Livingstone composition, The Trial of Champions, which was kind of almost like, I suppose, a sequel or a prequel or however to Death Trap Dungeon, as it features the Death Trap Dungeon slightly in here in a smaller form. Trial of Champions is a great read. It's kind of like Gladiator, but it's a really good read. So that's at number 8. Number 7 is one of my favourites, Volta the Vampire. This wasn't written by Ian Livingstone or Steve Jackson. This was a guest writer. It'll feature in a forthcoming video. And I mean, look at that artwork on the cover, eh? It's like, that's cool enough, to be honest. So that's at number 7. Number 6, we have, this one appeared quite a lot in the top 5, but it's at number 6 because it was more in the number 6 spot of the fans' lists. But it's one that's had probably more coverage than most others because of the nature of the book. It's set on Earth, and it's set, I believe, in like the 50s or 60s, and it's House of Hell. There was a film going to be made of this. There's another film or a TV show trying to be made of this currently. There are a lot of attention is put on this book, probably because it's set on Earth and it's really sort of a creepy, horror-y book. It's number 10 in the series, but in this list it made it to number 6. So there you go, Steve Jackson. Number 5, we have Ian Livingstone again, The Death Trap Dungeon. This is a fantastic read. For those of you who like the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, this is solely set in a dungeon, and it's a lot of booby traps in there, a lot of monsters. Sometimes you get lost. It is a really hard read through, but it is a really great read through, and it has a fantastic story. And I mean, the cover again by Ian McCraig, brilliant. That's the number 5. Number 4, we have Caverns of the Snow Witch. I've read this one recently, actually, as part of the videos, the forthcoming videos I'll be doing. So there'll be a review of this one. And actually, I was very surprised about this book. It's a great book. I can see why it got the number 4 spot. It was very interesting, and of course, I didn't make it through to the end. The Snow Witch got me. So I'll look forward to picking that one up again in the future. At number 3, we have The Citadel of Chaos, another Steve Jackson. This was the second entry of the series. First one that features magic, apart from his separate sorcery series, which incidentally is the next video in the playlist. Check that out next week. This one's really fun as well. I would say the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, though, is slightly better. But because this is kind of like that same template, but it's still a great book nonetheless. That was the 3rd one in our series. Number 2 is Appointment with Fear. Now, I personally have yet to play this book. I've never ever played it, but I've heard so much about it. I understand it's a comic book type of character or a superhero character that you play, and I really am looking forward to it. It's number 17th in the series, so there's a few vids yet to go on that one. But it's the cover itself looks amazing, to be honest. I can't wait to look into that one. Which means our number 1 pick, drum roll please, is City of Thieves. The number 1 pick by the fans out there. The City of Thieves, Ian Livingstone, Port Blacksand, all the elements you need for a great story and a great game. They're all in here, even, I believe, Ian McCraig's front cover here, which that guy looks like Darth Maul. You know, he really does. The skeletalized version. Now, that's number one. So there we go. That's the top 10 favorite books of all the fans out there that have put in them entries. And thank you very much to everyone who put in your entry. Now, I've got a few here, honorable mentions, purely because there were a few books out there in these top 10 lists that kept on reoccurring, but they were never recurring at the right spot. You know, so Dead of Night, there was a lot of people who out there enjoyed playing Dead of Night, but some would say it's the third best, some would say it's the seventh or the sixth or the fifth best. So it never really had a proper, you know, stable one. There was loads of people who put City of Thieves as number one. But Dead of Night gets an honorable mention, and to be honest, that cover is pretty cool looking, you know, with that teeth and everything, so no wonder. Another honorable mention is a book that I played as a child called Seas of Blood, and this book is really cool because you play as a captain of a ship, you have a crew, and you have to basically, Pirates of the Caribbean, get as much gold as you can. It's a great book again, and it kind of, there's a section in here where you go into a tavern and you can play all these different games, and that itself is a really fun thing to do. But it's a great book, so honorable mention for that one. Honorable mention as well for Creature of Havoc, because not only is it a very thick book, but also you play as a creature who you don't know who you are. You're sort of this snarling thing, and you have no memory, and you have to sort of find out who you are throughout the course of the book. So it's a really fun book to play, and I can't wait to look into that in a future video. And of course, we have to mention the very first book that created or started off all this, the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Now, this featured in a lot of people's lists, but it was never ever near the top or the bottom. It was all over the place. So honorable mention for Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and my personal honorable mention is the Daggers of Darkness. Not only because is this bald guy on the cover surfing on two tigers with a big crow on his back, but also the fact is that you're poisoned at the very beginning of the book. You've got to find your cure to this poison, and you have to go out and you have to find these things, these items, and it's a really fun adventure, and it's kind of like a sorcery book, you know, like the Seven Serpents or something in the locations you go to. So honorable mention for Daggers of Darkness. Review that in a future book. Thank you everyone who sent in your top 10, and next video we will be going, actually not into the sorcery, sorry, that was the last video previously. The next video is the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and I'll take care. See you then. Bye bye.